What is up, everyone? Hello and welcome to ROG Pulse, your inside look at what's happening behind the scenes here at the Republic of Gamers. And today is a very special stream as we have spent the last week gathering all of your questions about the latest ROG products announced here at CES 2024, which is, it feels like it was days ago, but it was actually a full week ago now, more than a week. And we're here ready to answer some of your questions.
We are. Now, okay, a few things to keep in mind before we start, y'all. A lot of these questions came from our Discord over the past week, but we will carve out a few blocks during the stream to answer live questions as well. So I've got both chats open. We won't necessarily be able to answer every question. Some we just don't have the answers to. Some we literally can't talk about yet, like questions pertaining to future products we haven't announced. So we can't answer questions like, when will you make X or is Y coming? If you ask a question in chat and we aren't answering it, we are not ignoring you. Please be patient and wait until we get to some of those live questions. We're going to do them in blocks. In addition, if we don't answer your question, again, it's not necessarily because we're ignoring you, it's just because we maybe have already answered it earlier in the stream. So chat, help each other out, let people know when their question was already answered. And then when this is over, you'll be able to go back and watch the full stream on YouTube and Twitch after it's over. So that's all of the my pre-question stuff. So let's get started, shall we? By the way, also, I abridged some of the questions. You'll see them along the bottom, but I shortened some of them or made some of them a little bit broader just to make it a little bit more concise and applicable to everyone.
Yeah, and sometimes multiple people ask the same questions, so we might have consolidated
like
some things as well and tied multiple
Some people
questions
wrote
together.
a book. You know, like some people wrote a novella about their questions. Like, this is all good info, but I can't fit that on the screen, so I'm going to have to shorten it.
Okay, right. Well, let's go.
Start.
So this was asked by quite a few people. Will there be a new Zephyrus M16 in 2024? What about a new Zephyrus Duo?
And what about the Z13? And what about every other laptop? We got a lot of questions about the other laptops because, so we did things a little bit different this year. And actually, oh no, we skipped a question, Jake. Okay, I'll go to that after this. So we did things a little bit differently this year. Since there were no new GPUs from NVIDIA for laptops, and since we were focusing so heavily on the new redesigned Zephyrus machines, we didn't refresh the entire lineup like we often do. The G14 and the G16, the Zephyrus, got full redesigns, and the whole Strix family, Strix Scar and Strix G, all got refreshed with 14th gen CPUs from Intel. For everything else, we're going to continue making and selling the 2023 versions of those laptops through 2024. So the M16, the Zephyrus Duo, and all of those other machines, the 2020 versions are the current machines, still using the latest GPUs from NVIDIA, so gaming performance should be pretty similar. And so you can still buy all of those devices today. This also goes, by the way, for the 2023 Zephyrus G14 and G16. Those are also going to still be available this year if for some reason you prefer those designs to the new ones. We'll talk a little bit more about that in some later questions. So hopefully that explains the difference of kind of what we're doing this year. All of those laptops are still, we haven't discontinued them or anything like that, right? It's just that the 2023 versions are basically also the 2024 versions.
Okay.
So you might not have had this in the text because
I didn't actually make a graphic for it. But yeah, the most common question we've had so far was, when will these products be available? What are the prices and how can I get notified?
Okay. So we don't generally give specific availability dates and prices ahead of time for a few reasons. One is that all of this is going to vary from region to region. And so we don't have the final dates and pricing for everything just yet. We can't just say like, this device is going to be available to buy on March 14th. Exactly. It depends more on the way it's set up. Is we have our global office where Jake and I work for. Devices get sent from the global office to all of the local offices around the world, and then they get shipped from there to retailers and all of that stuff. So it's not like we can say it's going to be on this exact date. It kind of gets there when it gets there and varies a little bit from region to region. And then the pricing will go live when the devices go on shelf. We're very close to it. Now, in some regions, in particularly in the US, I know this to be true. You can go to the products page on our website. So go to the 2024 Zephyrus G14 page or whatever. You'll get a little pop-up in the bottom right corner where you can sign up for notifications when a product goes on shelf. Right now, that is the best way to stay up to date on stuff. And of course, you can keep an eye on our social media as well and subscribe to us here on YouTube and Twitch, because in future episodes of Pulse, we'll be trying to let you guys know when stuff goes on shelf as well, kind of in real time. So.
Okay, continuing on. We have a question from Emilio. What is the TGP of the new Zephyrus laptops?
We actually have a number of questions from Emilio, and this is the first one. We're not gonna, not all of them I have answers to, but here's some of them. Okay, I'm gonna list them out for you, but don't feel like you have to write it down. We have a table on our site with the TGP of like all the laptops we've released for the past few years, because that's something that we want to be transparent about. And this is my bad. I forgot to update it this year, so I'm gonna. But here's the information for you right now. All models of the Zephyrus G14 are capable of 65 watts on the GPU plus 25 watts of dynamic boost for a total of up to 90 watts of graphics power. The Zephyrus G16, the 4080 and 4090 models can go up to 95 watts plus 20 watts of dynamic boost for a total of up to 115 watts on the GPU. The 4070 model of the G16 is 85 watts plus 20 watts, so that's 105 watts total. And the 4050 and 4060 models of the G16 are 85 plus 15, so that's a total of 100 watts. Again, I'm going to get that posted soon. The CPU can go up to 80 watts on the G14. On the two higher-end models of the G16, 4080 and 4090 as well, 80 watts. The other G16 models are 70 watts on the CPU. And all of those values are for turbo mode under Armory Crate. If you go into the other modes or you start playing with it manually, obviously that changes. So those are the wattage values for those. Again, we'll have more information. We'll put those up on our site so you can read them.
Another question from Emilio. What is the expected battery life of the new Zephyrus G14 and G16?
Yes. So, sorry, I skipped it in my doc. Okay. So battery life. Obviously this can vary a lot depending on your settings and the task at hand. This is not like this is how long you'll always get. Just disclaimer there. In our testing, we found that you can get about 10 hours of light usage, like web browsing, things like that, and up to 12 hours of video playback. Now that is on the OLED model of these devices and with the slash lighting turned off. We do have some models with IPS displays in some regions, and those can get a couple more hours of battery life than the OLED models.
Wow.
So, yeah, I actually didn't know about the IPS models until recently. I don't think we're going to have them in the US, but they might be in some regions.
Yeah, there's so many SKUs for each laptop. It's kind of crazy, but each region
we're going to talk
has
about
a few.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit because there have been a lot of questions on why isn't this SKU available in my region, stuff like that. So we're coming to that, guys. I promise. It's a big question with a big answer.
Continuing on with Emilio's gauntlet of questions, we have, why did ASUS switch from the barrel connector to a proprietary slim rectangle connector?
Emilio, we're giving you a hard time for asking a lot of questions, but this is a great question.
Great. It's a really good question.
And I'm excited to answer because this is really interesting. The most basic answer is it's all about how thin we made these devices. Okay. So the connector may look kind of similarly sized from a distance, but it's actually 35% smaller than the traditional barrel connector. And when you're talking about just millimeters or half millimeters of space, that matters. So that allows us to make the overall device thinner. And it also has a couple other features like a built-in temperature monitor that improves safety and longevity and things like that over time. But I want to give a little bit more context here. So that's, I mean, the easy answer is we wanted to make it thinner, but there's a bit more here. When we tell people about this, one of the first questions they usually ask is, why not just go USB-C for power? That's what a lot of other laptops, including our ZenBooks, do. And for a lot of those laptops, that makes sense because USB-C can provide enough power efficiently enough for those lower power devices. But this is a gaming laptop and a creator laptop, and it's designed to pull more power. So, you know, we have a 240 watt power connector over this. By the way, I saw your other question about that, Emilio. Yes, 240 watts is enough for these devices. Trust me. Now, we could provide 240 watts over USB-C, technically. But once you get past about 150 watts, the efficiency of that goes way down because you need to adjust the voltage to get the total wattage numbers because USB-C is only capable of a certain number of amps and et cetera. So you lose like 24 watts of waste that just turns into heat when you're going 240 watts over USB-C. That's just not the user experience that we wanted to offer to our users. So we have USB-C there if you're doing basic tasks and you just want to charge it, you want to cut down the number of chargers in your backpack. But if you're gaming, you're going full bore, something like that, we recommend using the full power adapter. And I've used it. It's a really nice power adapter. It works upside down and all of that stuff. It's good stuff. So it's ultimately not that different from previous generations. It's just a different connector, so that we could make it thinner and add a little bit of that like overheat protection and stuff in it as well.
All right. I love the new look too. I mean, it just looks nice. It looks different. It looks neat.
It's clean.
For the connector. It is clean. So Amelia also asked, what are the expected lifespan of the battery? For example, how many cycles until it reaches 80% of its original capacity?
So we actually have this information on our site. I'm going to pop it in the chat right now. Boom, boom, boom. The answer is about 1,200 cycles for our batteries until you reach around 80% of that original capacity. Again, it's going to be different for everyone. It's not like this is your guarantee hard fast rule. Depending on how you use the battery and use the device, it's just it'll vary, but that's about what you can expect.
Mm-hmm. Okay, from Mellow ESC, do the 2024 Zephyrus laptops have a MUX switch?
Yes, all of our laptops from the past few years include a MUX switch, and most of the current models, including the Zephyrus G14 and G16, have an NVIDIA Advanced Optimus, which is actually a more advanced MUX switch that can flip between the discrete and integrated GPUs automatically and without the need to reboot. So, yes, or the answer is maybe yes plus. Yes, and it's awesome. So, yeah, easy peasy.
From Kerman, why did you switch to soldered LDP DDR5X memory instead of including an upgradable SODIMM slot like the previous models? I want to upgrade mine to 64 gigs.
All right. So this question and the next question kind of relate to these different SKUs that we talked about and stuff like that. So I'm gonna kind of start in one place, and we're gonna move on to the next question for the rest of it. So soldered LPDDR5X memory. Again, this is just a reality of the size and the thinness of the device. Getting the laptop that thin required soldered memory. We cannot break the laws of physics as much as we often try and as much as we like to skirt that line, but we can't. So if upgradable memory is important to you, like I mentioned, the 2023 Zephyrus models or one of our other laptops are still available, and those might be a better bet for you. We wanted to do something really different with these new designs, and kind of like the Flow series, it was kind of a requirement for what we wanted to achieve. And it's not like, again, we're not getting rid of the devices that offer upgradable memory, so this is in addition to those. It's not, So, side note here, we also had a few questions about why they start at 16 gigabytes. People saying like, oh, shouldn't the minimum be 32 gigabytes, or why isn't this SKU available in my region with 32 gigabytes and this GPU? So again, that's multiple questions, and I'm going to kind of answer it broadly. First, there's still plenty of demand for 16 gigabyte models, and we want to accommodate that. Like, that's the most simple answer to that. Just because 32 gigs is your minimum doesn't mean it's everyone's minimum. And we do offer that 32 gig config for you. So now there's more to this question I'm going to answer in a second, but for this question specifically, we also had people asking, why is there no 64 gigabyte version? Again, it probably comes down to demand. If you need 64 gigs of memory, much like if you need upgradable memory, I recommend looking at maybe the Zephyrus M16 or maybe the Duo. Those are both really powerful, really badass laptops that have higher wattage, have higher expandable memory. And if you're doing stuff that really, really needs to go full bore like that, and the new models aren't quite getting you what you need, we offer thin and light laptops that will give you those things. So it's really about what you need and about the demand that we're seeing. So let's move on to the next question. We'll talk a bit more about some of these SKU questions.
So Legally Harmless asks, on the website, the new Zephyrus G14 is only available in white and the Zephyrus G16 is only available in gray. Why is that when other colors are listed on the global site?
So this is a US specific question, but it's similar to the last one, and it kind of goes along with it. So again, I'm going to answer this broadly. The answer to almost every why isn't the SKU I want offered in my region is the same as the RAM question above, and it's ultimately because of demand. There are other factors, but demand is a big one, not just from consumers, but from retailers, from the regional offices, and so on. Again, the global office decides what SKUs will manufacture, and then the regional offices order the colors and configurations and SKUs that they think will sell the best in their region based on the data they have and what they've seen from previous models. So it's also what retailers are asking for, the related costs of having more SKUs and trying to sell them all. Just having every permutation isn't necessarily practical for all of them, especially if some of them aren't going to sell as well. And this is actually similar to previous versions of the G14. The gray model was not available in the US the past couple generations. Those are just the colors that the US office and its retail partners are selling for one or many reasons. It's just kind of how it goes. So I know that's not like a specific answer to everyone's SKU related question, but I can't necessarily give you a super specific answer. I can give you a broad answer. A lot of it ends up being demand, not just from you, but from retailers and stuff like that. So I see a lot of questions. No, guys, we haven't discontinued any models at this time. All of the models that we didn't announce, we're still selling them throughout the year. I addressed that earlier in the stream. So.
Okay, well, we've been collecting your live questions here, and we're going to dive in and answer some of them. So we can just kind of jump in with HS High Score, who asked if it's possible to use the new ROG Carnyx microphone with an arm. I assume you mean just like any kind of standard boom arm that's used with a microphone, and the answer is yes. It does have the thread needed to install that on a boom arm. We've seen people actually mount them upside down or right side up, so you can use it either way, however you like it. But it does come with that steel base that you can with the shock mount for your desk mounting without an arm. So it doesn't require the arm, but it absolutely works with the arm.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna try and I don't necessarily know if we have answers to all these questions. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna scan these.
Sure.
And
go ahead.
Try to hit the ones that we can hit. The first thing I want to address is another one that we're seeing a lot of. We would love to give you guys on shelf and price info, but we can't. We just don't have that right now. So we see your questions. We aren't just ignoring you. Again, a lot of people asking about things discontinued. Nothing's been discontinued, but those are the broad questions that I can answer right now that we can't answer them. All right. I'm gonna.
Yeah. And keep asking, guys.
You go ahead and answer the next question. I'm just going to delete a few that I know we don't have the answers to right now.
Okay. So not all questions can be answered, obviously. And the ROG Phone 8, I don't believe we're taking pre-orders yet.
No, we are not taking pre-orders for the ROG Phone 8 yet.
Yeah. So sorry about that, William. But soon. TM, can you give us one of your kidneys for an ergo chair? Lane, come on. You put this in the doc. Lane's
currently we do not accept kidneys as a form of payment. Yes, guys, Lane is behind the scene gathering all of your questions. That's why we're doing these in batches. So just because you don't see us in chat doesn't mean we aren't there. My boy Lane is doing hard work.
I mean, I'm watching chat a little bit, but AirVision M1, I know you're excited about that no pulse. Whitson, that's the first thing I asked Whitson when I talked to him when he got back yesterday was if he got to check it out, and he didn't. So none of us have a hands-on experience with it yet.
You know what? I should have, because I was in the media showroom for one day, but I didn't. I will show you what I did get, though.
I actually forgot to put mine right here. It's over there on the couch.
Oh, you got one too?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they sent you one.
Yeah.
So yes, this is my ROG Ally pillow, you guys. It's awesome. We don't sell this. It was a promotional item at CES, but I'm gonna put it on my couch. I stole one. Just kidding. They told me to take one.
I'll ask you if you've got hands-on with this yet. Lord David asks if we can talk about the Tessen controller yet. I mean,
I did get hands-on.
So you've seen it hands-on? Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. We had that at CES. It's cool. I like it a lot. I like that. So this is, for those of you that don't know, the Tessen controller is a mobile, like a controller for mobile phones. It's kind of a replacement for the
Kunai.
Kunai, thank you. I keep calling it the Raikiri, and I know that's not right. The Kunai, which was specifically for the ROG phone. The Tessen works with, I don't want to say any phone, but a much wider variety of phones. It's more universal. So I really like that about it, even though I think the ROG phone is the way to go. But you can use it with a previous gen ROG phone or things like that. It's not, you can use it and then use it with multiple phones. The buttons felt good. I love that it has back paddles. It kind of folds up, which is big for me for controllers like that. Sometimes they're just like, They're just kind of like floppy and have the two handles, or they don't. I need it to fold up in a way that goes into my backpack, and so I really like the way that it folds up too. It's cool. I recommend checking it out if that's something that you care about. Analog triggers, good question. I believe so, but I actually am not positive off the top of my head. This is why we try to take all of our questions on Discord first, because sometimes my memory fails me.
We'll do our best to get our hands on the Tessen and show it off on stream in the future. Because I know there's actually been quite a few questions about that. Because I'm actually quite eager to get my hands on an ROG phone.
It is analog triggers. Yes,
well.
analog
Nice.
triggers.
Cool.
So there again, if you guys can search our site, we did announcement articles for all of these products that have a little bit more detail than some of the spec pages might have. So yeah, guys, please stop spamming the chat. Please stop spamming the chat.
Yeah. Release date information, guys, we'll reiterate. We don't have any of that today. We're not announcing any specific pricing or release date info. But we're answering whatever we can. Are the winners of the Ally giveaway, have they been drawn? They've announced some of them on Instagram. I don't know if it's completely been announced. But
I believe the winners have been announced.
Yeah,
Yes, you can go check Instagram and social media. The winners are all should all be there.
Just check social media. Let's see.
I'm deleting the ones that we can't answer, so you can just keep going down the list there.
Sure. I have no idea about laptops and if they're worth getting into gaming, or should I stay with my PS5 or save up for a desktop? Are they as strong as desktop? I don't really know. So laptops, generally speaking, can hit really high performance, and as high performance as many desktops. But I guess one of the things that we can tell you is
not 1-to-1 necessarily.
Yeah. So like a 4090 in a desktop and a 4090 in a laptop are not equal. A desktop is way more cooling potential. It's a much larger unit that's keeping that cool, so it can hit higher power and it can hit basically higher performance. So if you're a user that needs the portability, laptop's absolutely the way to go. If you're a user that's going to use this at a desk all the time, you're going to spend less money for better performance with a desktop. And that's just generally how it goes. Now, that being said, with a desktop, you need to think about a monitor, you need to think about a mouse, you need to think about a keyboard, you need to think about all of the different pieces. When a laptop it works. You have everything you need.
Stuff.
So yeah, you gotta pick your battles, I guess.
It really, yeah. I mean, we could spend a whole episode talking about this, and I'll say, like, in the past too, I needed portability, but I didn't need portability for gaming, or I could stream. So I had a Chromebook and then a really powerful desktop, which was less money total than a gaming laptop. But now that I'm doing more gaming on the go, because I'm traveling a lot more for work, the gaming laptop is a much more compelling product for me. But I also have the Ally too. So like it really depends on the combination of products you have and things like that. If you're a college student, like, gaming laptop, man.
If you travel for business, then laptops are amazing too. I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons, right? But that's why you have options.
Yep.
Celtic
but don't discount the idea of buying two devices to replace one, right?
That's true.
We have a lot of really good Chromebooks and ZenBooks and things like that. I know we're supposed to promote ROG products here, but like you could buy an ROG desktop and have like a ZenBook for the work you're doing on the go, and depending on your needs, that could fit great too.
Yeah. Some people care about touch screens,
machines,
right? Touch screens is a thing that laptops have that desktops don't have. There's that element too. Actually, dude, are there desktop displays with touch? Is that a thing?
Not. I don't think you have a ton of like big kind of desktop monitors, but a lot of like our portable monitors or things like that, you could use at a desk or mount in a certain way. Like I have mounted a portable monitor as a secondary monitor, and that some of those have touch, things like that. So. Or you could use our new Zephyrus Duo is basically a desktop and laptop format. That thing's so badass. Sorry, it's not Zephyrus Duo, the ZenBook Duo, the new ZenBook Duo.
Yeah.
Okay, I should stop talking about ZenBooks, but
All right,
I saw a lot of them at CES and they're awesome too.
So the Celtic Pac-Man asks if you can buy my capture card. The CU 4K Pro is actually not for sale yet. I still don't know the details on that and when it's going to be available. But
I thought he literally wanted to buy your capture card.
No.
He was talking about a model that we don't have on sale yet.
Yeah,
which model is this?
It's the CU 4K Pro. It's the 4K 120.
Oh yeah, I forgot
FPS.
about that one.
Yeah, HDMI 2.1 capture card. I have one. They exist, but they're not for sale yet. And I'm gonna.
I mean, yours is probably more of a pre-production unit.
I reached out asking for an answer right before Christmas, and then never got an answer. So I'll reach out again because I think now that the holidays and CES are over, maybe I can get a response.
But again, like we usually can't share release info until the product is like on the precipice of release. So
right. I think yeah.
Sometimes
So,
we get lucky, but generally no.
There's a chance. I just want to at least get a response. Do due diligence. Keep asking me, keep bugging me about it because I do want to. I can at least tell you I can't tell you when I hear back, but I haven't heard.
Or in like a very rare circumstance, I've seen like a product get canceled. Like
it's possible.
It doesn't happen that often, but like if that happens, then we could theoretically say that. So all right, let's move on to displays. We got a lot of good questions about our new. So many OLED monitors, dude. It was like OLED pandemonium at CES. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is kind of like our next wave of OLED that we're moving into.
It is third generation OLED, but I think we announced more this year than we ever have in years past for like one announcement.
Love it. I'm all about the OLED train. So from AQZ Z1NKY, I don't know how to pronounce your name, so you get it spelled out.
Akzinski.
You did better than I. Can the ROG Swift OLED PG32 UCDP switch to 24 or 27-inch view in 1080p mode?
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, he's referring to our new dual mode 32-inch panel. So we have two 32-inch OLEDs that we announced. There's been a little bit of confusion about this. Two OLEDs, awesome. So one is just a straight 4K 32-inch monitor, 240 hertz. It's awesome. I used it a lot at CES. The other one is a 4K 240 hertz 32-inch OLED that can then switch into a second mode where it's 1080p 480 hertz. Badass. So, in contrast to some of our competitors, we're offering two monitors. Keep that in mind as you shop. But he's asking if that monitor has the same feature as our 27-inch OLED that lets you shrink down the screen to just a 24-inch size for like competitive play. The answer is right now, no. Our 32-inch models do not have that feature. But it is a good idea, and I passed that feedback on that you guys want this because I'm sure that Akuzinski is not the only one. We also got some questions and requests for high refresh OLEDs in smaller sizes, just in general. I've passed that on as well, but if you are playing competitively on an OLED and you want something that is smaller in size, I would look at the ROG Swift OLED PG27 AQDM. That's the 27-inch model that can shrink the screen down to a 24 or 25-inch size. I would definitely check that out.
Okay. From Blissful Aspirations, do the new 4K OLED monitors have DisplayPort 2.1?
So, okay, I actually wasn't able to get an answer to this one in time. I am sorry. However, there was something I knew that I could pass on it. I assume you're asking because you're wondering if you'll need DisplayPort compression or DSC. So the answer is, even if these do have DisplayPort 2.1, you will still need DSC to hit 4K 240 hertz. So keep that in mind. I know it's not actually the answer to your question, but I think it kind of hits some of the reasoning behind the question, and so I wanted to at least address that. We'll have hopefully more information on that soon. I don't think that some of those product pages aren't even up yet. Once those go up, hopefully we'll have more information on all of those specs.
From Liquid Shadow Fox, will the ROG Swift PG27 AQN get a firmware update for G-SYNC Pulsar?
Okay, so short answer, no. For those that don't know, G-SYNC Pulsar is the new black frame insertion or like backlight strobing thing that NVIDIA announced at CES. We are working with them on bringing that to an ROG 360 hertz display, but it is going to be a new display, a future monitor, not any current models. So as of right now, it's not going to be coming as a firmware update, but it is coming.
Sorry.
So we had someone ask in chat whether the PG32 UCDM was glossy or what. So of those two 32-inch monitors that we mentioned, guys, the PG32 UCDP, that's the dual mode one, that one is anti-glare. And the PG32 UCDM, which is just the single 4K 240 hertz one, that is glossy. So that may also factor into your decision. But again, we have two 32-inch models for you to choose from. It's nice. Nice to have choice.
Okay.
The PG32 UCDM is also Dolby Vision, which is cool. I think it's our first Dolby Vision monitor.
Ooh.
I can't see you, by the way, Jake, so if you want to pop that back up.
Discord.
All right, so those are our monitor questions. We can get back to some more live ones at the end, but I want to move on and keep making sure we get through all these Discord ones. We've got now motherboards, graphics cards, and desktops. Some questions on that kind of stuff.
Yep. Starting with a question from Pask saying, do the new Super and BTF graphics cards use the same PCB layout as the non-Super and non-BTF cards? Are they compatible with previous water blocks?
Okay. So the
Good
PCB
question.
designs are good question. PCB designs are almost identical on our end. Again, with the power connector is different, etc. But I can't answer the actual reasoning for the question though. We can't just guarantee water block compatibility across the board. There are just too many different water block manufacturers and too many edge cases out there that for us to go out and validate everything. So that is something that you'll have to ask the vendor of the water block that you're looking at. But I'm pretty optimistic. So I think you can be optimistic, but go check the person who makes the water block, ask them if it's compatible. They should be able to tell you, give you your final validated yes or no.
From Drone Kangen, I probably butchered your name already, so we're just gonna.
It's a badass name. I love it.
It is a badass name, but can I connect one of the new BTF graphics cards to a Mini-ITX motherboard?
Okay, so BTF graphics cards are only compatible with BTF motherboards. So you have to have both for it to work. Excuse me. Right now, there are no Mini-ITX sized BTF motherboards. But if we were to see that in the future, I imagine they'd also have a graphics card appropriately sized for that size PC, right? I think that was the reason he was asking this question. Like these graphics cards are really big. How would they work in a Mini-ITX build? If we did release a Mini-ITX BTF motherboard, I would imagine that we would release a GPU to match. I have no information about whether that's something that's in the works, though. Keep in mind, BTF is a brand new spec. Mini-ITX is a bit more of a niche case, so it's just for the time being, it's limited to just a few products, and it's going to be more of those full-size products. So the answer is we don't know, but that's kind of I wanted to make sure that people knew that the BTF, you have to have the motherboard and the card. You can't put a BTF graphics card in a regular motherboard and have it work, because you need that power delivery on the motherboard side as well.
Back to another question from Pask. Do the new Super cards have the updated spec 16-pin connector?
Easy one. Yes. All models now use the 12-volt 2x6 spec connector.
Nice.
There you go.
Also from Pask, will there be non-OC editions of the ROG Strix and TUF Gaming 4080 Super?
Yes. In fact, every GPU that comes in an OC edition also comes in a non-OC edition. Except, there's only one exception this time, the TUF Gaming 4070 Ti Super White. For some reason, the white version of the TUF 4070 Ti Super only comes in an OC edition. I believe there's no non-OC edition for that, but for every other card that we just announced, they all come in OC and non-OC editions. Now, that is pending, stock and availability in your region and things like that. But as far as we've manufactured both versions of every card.
Okay. Johnny Tex, what parts of the ROG G22CH desktop are upgradable?
This is also a great question. So for those of you that don't know, the G22 is we sell a few pre-built desktops.
Yeah.
The G22 is, I think, the coolest one. It's like a very compact. Yeah. I hesitate to call it itty bitty because the NUC is even more itty bitty, and we'll talk about that after this question. But it's like a Mini-ITX pre-built almost, but a little bit different because we were able to kind of build it from scratch. So almost everything on the G22 should be upgradable. So the graphics card, the RAM, the storage, even the Wi-Fi card, all of that stuff you can upgrade. I'm not positive about the CPU, and that may ultimately depend on the model you have and the model of CPU you plan on upgrading to, if it's upgradable at all, because it depends on the BIOS and the Intel generations, right? You can only upgrade to certain CPUs for each given socket. So I don't want to say too much about the CPU, but everything else that you would expect to be upgradable, you can swap those out. The motherboard and the power supply are more specific to the G22's design, though, so I don't think you can change those. But at that point, you're building a whole new PC anyway.
Right.
So the standard parts you'd want to upgrade, you can do that. The G22 is a sweet machine. I got some game time with it at CES, and man, I love that thing. I'm a sucker for small PCs though, but it's powerful.
You've always loved them.
It's a beast, man.
Yeah.
A compact beast. Speaking of compact beasts, should we talk about the ROG NUC?
Yeah.
We got a lot of questions about the NUC.
A lot of buzz about the NUC, more than I thought. We got more questions about the NUC than the ROG Phone 8, which really surprised me. But so Pyramid asks, why does the ROG NUC only have options like an RTX 4060 or 4070 laptop GPU? I know some of your laptops come with up to an RTX 4090.
Yeah, so the NUC is using a laptop GPU because it's so compact. And this is a good question. I don't have a super detailed answer I can share here, but it's going to be like the previous questions about SKUs and whatnot. A lot of it probably has to do with demand and cost and things like that. The RTX 4090 is an amazing GPU, but look, here's the thing. Most people don't need that super high-end SKU, or at least they don't, we don't sell a ton of them because it doesn't fit their budget or whatever other reason. So to give some context from another product line, last year's Zephyrus G14, we took that all the way up to an RTX 4090 laptop GPU, and it was badass, okay? I have one here. It's awesome. But when we were designing this year's Zephyrus G14, we wanted to go thinner, like we talked about earlier on this stream. But that super thin design just wouldn't be able to handle a 4090 at the wattage we'd really want to offer it on. So, but we looked at the G14, and the vast majority of Zephyrus G14 buyers don't buy the 4090 model. The vast majority go for the 4060 or 4070. So we were willing to drop those super high-end SKUs to like make our design dreams a reality, right? I imagine there are similar forces at play here. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to say that like this word is gospel, but even though the ROG NUC isn't as constrained as the G14, like when Intel was making super high-powered NUCs like that, they were noticeably larger, and we didn't continue those models. So this is a new product for us. There are a lot of factors that go into these decisions, and I don't know what we'll see in the future, but that kind of hopefully gives you some context of what may have played a role in that decision. I also got some game time in the ROG NUC. It is cool. I can't believe how small it is. It is just so cool. Now that I've seen it in person, I want Jake or I to get one in-house so we can show it off more on stream because it is very, very neat.
Put it right here with my PG42 UQ. Be perfect.
I mean, that's the cool thing is you can put it anywhere. It's so small.
A home theater PC, like just boop. Put it in your kitchen. Okay. Have a secret monitor on the back of your fridge.
I mean, that's what kind of the NUCs were designed for, right? Like it is kind of part of our Internet of Things division. And while we do have some consumer models like the ROG NUC, NUCs are so versatile for use in any kind of like DIY project you might want to put together. That's what's so cool about them. So, all right, speaking of home theater PC, the next two questions are about using the NUC exactly that way. So great segue, Jake.
Yep. Does the ROG NUC have full bandwidth HDMI 2.1 port for 4K 120 Hz?
Yes, I'm told that it does use the full spec HDMI 2.1.
Glorious. Like that's perfect for my PG42 UQ OLED.
I know it's like a third the size of a console or something.
Amazing. Such cool technology. Also from Ritz, the description for the ROG NUC mentions the Raikiri Pro controller specifically. Does this mean you can control the mouse cursor with the controller via software, or is it just saying you can use the Raikiri Pro like any other PC?
So the answer is the latter. It's just saying that the Raikiri would be a great companion to this PC as a living room console replacement. The NUC doesn't come with special software to control the PC with a gamepad like the Ally does. However, there are plenty of third-party solutions out there. I have used them in the past and in the present. Actually, I'm using one on this PC behind me because that's what I do here. I have a PC hooked up to my TV, control it with my gamepad. It works really well. I'm not going to give specific recommendations because I'm wary of recommending specific third-party software. Go check out the options available to you, test them out, see what you like. If that's how you plan on using the ROG NUC, that's the way to do it. And the Raikiri is an awesome controller to do it with, for sure.
All right. Well,
Raikiri Pro, I should say.
Yeah, I do want to.
Raikiri you could use, but it's maybe a long cord across the room and.
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out and thank everybody that did go over to our Discord and ask these questions ahead of time. We've had a lot of questions live in chat. We've answered a bunch halfway through. We're going to go ahead and take some more questions from chat. And Lane's been out there gathering your questions. Have you vetted any of these yet, Whitson?
No, I haven't. I'll go through them right now. Lane has been vetting some of these. So again, guys, if we don't get to your question, it's because it's just something we can't answer. I see a lot of questions about pricing, availability, which we've mentioned we can't answer yet. I see a lot of questions about, will you make X in the future? And we can't announce products before we announce them, unfortunately. It's just, I would love to just sneak in secret announcements, but they don't let me do that. They say they'll fire me. Just kidding. No one says that. Anyway, I don't know the answer to this.
So let me actually just kind of like more broadly answer this question from Verapal.
Yeah,
I just heard about AI and monitors for extra info when gaming. Do any of your new monitors have that? I haven't heard anything myself, but I think just in general, that's a trend that you're going to have to keep your eyes out for. Even the new ROG Phone 8 has some AI learning tools built into that chip, because that new chip it's using, I forget the exact model it has AI tools. So that's going to start to try to memorize like certain patterns of what you're doing and suggest things. It's even going to feed you guides, like say, hey, do you want this guide for this game when you're playing a game, right? So that we're kind of in this era, we're pushing into this era of AI where we're going to see AI incorporated in a lot of different ways. So don't be surprised when it comes up, but I don't think our displays have it at this time.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't listening because I was going through some stuff.
It's all good.
I don't think so, but
right.
Again, there's always the future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A few of these I can't answer. So let's move on to the next one.
The Minecraft one from Minecraft?
Yes.
Will the new mouse support one Omni receiver for both the new mouse and the keyboard?
Yes, so I assume you're talking about the ROG Keris 2 Ace that we announced. And yes, our new Omni receivers are a new dongle that you can connect a mouse and a keyboard to the same dongle at the same time. So it frees up a USB port on your machine. And yes, I believe the ROG Keris 2 Ace does in fact support the Omni receiver. I think you're going to see that most, if not all, of our peripherals will support that going forward. That's something that we're really proud of, and we really want you guys to be able to use it.
Soon TM.
Yep.
Right. Norteal, you say nothing is discontinued, but what about the 4090 Matrix? The 4090 Matrix, I mean, I can just answer this, was a limited batch. That was a like exclusive one-time deal, collector's item. I don't think they'll be available
that's different.
ever again. Like that's
those are done.
Matrix are always that way. But
yeah, there won't be
our Matrix
we
cards,
might make a Matrix card in the future, but
but our Matrix cards have always been collector's items. Like we don't produce them long term.
Also, when I say nothing was discontinued, I was referring specifically to laptops. People were asking about the lap because again, we did things a little bit differently this year. We didn't announce refreshes of all of our laptops, so people were worried that a lot of them were discontinued, and that's not the case. With laptops, it's just that a lot of those 2023 models are being carried into 2024 because there were no new GPUs, et cetera, and we're focusing on some of the ones that we did update. Okay, this next question.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've been getting a lot of this, and I don't know what I'm like. I'm gonna give my personal speculations because I don't have all the answers. This is a question about a future product. Black Panther T'Challa Lem says, "Can we get an ROG Ally with an OLED screen?" I have seen so much talk about this that I don't know what's coming in the whole future, right? There are a lot of things that I know are being discussed and talked about. Where I'm sitting, I want to set expectations because here's the thing. One of the biggest selling points of the ROG Ally was the VRR screen. That's something that we have over some of our competitors. It's something that I personally feel is crucial to, first of all, any modern gaming experience, but especially the ROG Ally. Because if you're not hitting exactly 60 frames per second, you want the screen to be able to, it's going to feel way worse. And when you're working with such a limited power envelope, that VRR screen is a godsend. Now, we talked about this on the stream. We just invented the first VRR OLED on a mobile device, basically. I don't want to say that's probably bad wording. We didn't invent it. We worked diligently with Samsung Display and with NVIDIA to make VRR work on our OLED laptops, the new Zephyrus G14 and G16. We're going to talk in more detail in a future episode about how that works because it is crazy. Like teaser, that screen actually refreshes at like 960 hertz or something in order to make that VRR work. It's not it can't show 960 frames per second, but it's refreshing really often in order to make that work. It's just different than a desktop monitor. We couldn't make it work the traditional way you would get it to work on a desktop monitor or a TV. So we literally are just now releasing the first VRR OLED monitors on a laptop. So I don't know if it depends on when the next Ally comes, if the next Ally comes, and what kind of technology we're able to put into it. But I want to like temper some expectations because I don't know if that technology is going to be available on the Ally right away. That is really brand new, and we just did it. So, there's anything is possible, especially as you like the further and further out into the future you go. But I just, when you have to source a specific OLED at a specific size and then do that kind of stuff with it, and it's an AMD machine, not NVIDIA, which is who we worked with for that. Like, I just don't know.
A lot of variables.
So I know that everyone's been asking about that, and I wanted to like give that answer's coming from me personally. I don't actually have that. No one at HQ told me anything that I just told you. I'm just kind of like reading the room based on what I'm seeing on the laptop side. So that said, I think the LCD on the Ally is amazing. I think it looks so good. I'm usually playing it in a brighter room anyway. I have not like when I go now that I've gone OLED and mini LED on a laptop, it's hard to go back. I don't feel that way as much about the Ally yet. Because of the situations in which I use it, and just because like it's so good, and it's still better LCD than what our competitors were offering. So
yeah, for sure,
I'm really really happy with it.
No, there's certain games
and I think I'd take VRR any day. Like if we had to give up VRR for an OLED, I wouldn't want it. Yeah, personally.
Think of how many people have played games like Red Dead Redemption and Hogwarts Legacy on their Ally, where
I played Red Dead on my Ally.
Without variable refresh rate, it's gonna feel a lot worse, or you're gonna be logging at 30 FPS, right? So it's and
I did not spend all these years gaming on PC to just lock it to 30 FPS.
Console potatoes. No, great response. We hear you guys feedback loud and clear every time you guys talk about this stuff. Don't worry, it gets heard. We hear what you guys want for future updates, specifically with the Ally. I think it's something that we're really passionate about. Not to say that we don't have people as passionate about our laptops and stuff. The Ally is just kind of our new baby. We got pillows. Pillows. But anyways, Dark, does the new ROG Zephyrus G14 have a 240 refresh rate? It's
yes,
kind of worded weird.
Yes, the Zephyrus G14. Sorry, the parentheses are Lane's answers. The G14 has the G14 has a max 120 hertz refresh rate. 240 hertz on the G16, I believe.
Got it. Anime Freak 1983. Does ROG have an influencer program? We don't have a program. No, we have a team that scouts and reaches out. Not the other way around. There's no way to apply to join Team ROG. You need to be scouted. If you're already an active content creator, there's a chance that someone comes to you and reaches out about a sponsorship, but it doesn't go the other way around.
But stay tuned.
Ooh.
We'll see what the future holds for us.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well,
if you can't talk about the release window of the monitor, light bar, and ergo arm, can you tell us something about them? Yeah, they're awesome. I mean, again, go check our article. We have a ton of detail in those articles. They're very cool. I got to play with those at CES as well. The cool thing about the light bar is that it doesn't shine light on the display. It kind of just shines it down onto the desk, which a lot of the cheaper light bars you find on Amazon don't really do. So that's nice that it doesn't produce that glare. And it's also the mounting mechanism for that is really robust. You can mount it on a really wide variety of monitors, like curved monitors and stuff like that. It's really cool. The ergo monitor arm, okay, I saw that at CES and I kind of instantly fell in love with it. When they first told me that we were making it, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I saw it in person. I was like, oh, that's cool. It looks really, really sharp.
I'm so mad that we made a monitor arm. No,
Right
because
after you bought one.
I have so many. I have like 5 different ones. Like I legit have to eBay some of my old arms already because I just had bought different ones because I was never really happy with them. Right? It's like, this one's not great. This one's not great. This one's not great. And I got this desk and it came with one, so it's like, okay, I'll just use this one. Now we see ours and it's like, it's perfect. I want it.
Listen to this guy complain about a product he'll probably get for free.
Yeah, but I need like 3 of them.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if I can hook you up with 3 of them.
No, definitely not. The light bar looks. I'm excited for the light bar. That looks really good.
Yeah, the light bar is cool. But mostly, I'm just excited for how many OLEDs we have. It's just gonna be so awesome.
Gosh, which one should I request first, chat? Which OLED do you guys want to see first?
That's a good question, actually, guys. Okay, here's the thing. We should do a poll. Not right now.
We'll do it on stream tomorrow or something. We'll do
but this is your motivation to follow and subscribe to us, guys. Okay, so remember, if you didn't see your question answered, there's a good chance we already answered it earlier in the stream. So when we sign off, you'll be able to see the full stream on YouTube and Twitch shortly. If your question wasn't answered at all, it's probably because we weren't able to get an answer in time, or it's something we can't answer. It's too broad. It's too vague. It was related to a future product, which we can't discuss. But if you guys aren't subscribed, subscribe, because we'll do a poll and see which monitor you want Jake to get first. I can't guarantee that will actually be the monitor Jake gets first. It does depend on availability and what they can send us, but
we can still try. We can still request.
We can still
to
try.
Get hands-on and then showcase that specific display.
It also may depend on which monitor comes out first. I don't know if they're like they may not all come out the same day.
We can still create the poll.
I am still curious which monitor people want to see the most. Like, I want to see which one people are hyped about the most, because we announced most of them in one article, so there's a lot of traffic to that article, but the traffic doesn't tell us which one, because they're not separate articles. So,
well, again, please be sure to subscribe here on Twitch and YouTube, or follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, and we'll be doing some gaming streams tomorrow. I'll actually be playing the new Prince of Persia game on the Ally. Really excited for that because it looks like the perfect side scroller. That's going to be good. We've got, I don't know, just so many big game launches around the corner.
It's going to be a good year.
Yeah, I'm pumped for Enshrouded. That drops next week. Like, it's going to be a good year. So
I'm hearing some rumors about Shadow of the Erdtree, and I'm just on the edge of my seat for that.
Will I play Pal World? See, people want to see Pal World. Pokemon with guns. I don't get the hype, but I'll have to check it out.
Maybe you will when you play it.
Exactly. You know what? I've seen a lot of buzz about it. So clearly they're doing something right. I've just been, All right. Well, guys, thank you all for tuning in. This has been fun.
Yeah,
thank you for your questions.
Game stream tomorrow. All of our streams, by the way, are at noon, Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific.
Yep.
ROG Pulse, this show is every Thursday. So come back. We'll be doing deep dives on all these products in the coming months, unboxings, tutorials, more Q&As here and there. Plus, we do giveaways almost every stream. We didn't say, but almost every stream we do giveaways over on Twitch. So subscribe, follow us on Twitch, join our Discord to stay up to date with the latest news and announcements. And yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys, and thanks for all the questions.
GG.
We'll see you guys next time.